couple weeks ago, somebody asked me what my top productivity hacks are. As somebody who's been through undergrad, master's, PhD, is a professor, consults on the side, has multiple jobs, clearly I've been able to establish and figure out some techniques and strategies to be productive in my life. So what I did is I polled one of my undergrad classes to ask what their top productivity hacks are. And in this video, I'll be providing my feedback on what their top 10 are and tell you what mine are as well. Hey guys, I'm Mike. I'm an organizational behavior professor at the Ted Rogers School of Management. In weekly videos, I leverage my student and professor experiences to give you novel insights in terms of how to better manage your student life. I generally don't talk about topics learned in the classroom, but learn the hard way throughout uni. So if you are in uni or will be soon, hit subscribe, smash a like, make sure the notification tab is on, and check out my weekly videos. And in this week's video, I'll be shedding the top productivity hacks of 2023. So here we go. Okay, so we have 10 productivity hacks we're gonna go through, but I haven't seen any of them yet. Instead, I've had my research assistant order them from the most obvious to the least obvious. Okay, so if you get the first one and you're like, duh, don't worry, they should get a little bit less obvious as we go along. Let's go. Just like Santa Claus. I'm not sure that's a productivity hack, but it certainly makes me feel good when I do it. They have these phone apps or on like Word or something like that, where you make a list and you like start writing it down and then you just like simply delete it when you get that task accomplished for the day. I'm old school. I like physically writing it down on a piece of paper because then I can see you actually like cross through. So you can see here's of the 5 things I wanted to do today, here's the 3 that I actually did and I have 2 remaining. Because if you just had a list of 5 at the beginning of the day and then only a list of 2 things remaining at the end of the day, you don't feel that sense of accomplishment that you actually tackled 3 of them. I recommend doing it at the beginning of the week as well as the beginning of every single day. If you are overwhelmed by a big task like a major essay, then it can also be helpful to break down that essay into its subcomponents. So maybe you tackle like the intros or identifying references, and you identify like the 10 things that need to be done for that particular essay. And then, to take even one step further, because there's a lot of research to suggest that you're more productive at different times of the day, is to actually figure out when you're most productive. For most people, it's earlier in the morning, right after you wake up. Right? So it's the idea that if those more critical tasks that you have to put a lot of like critical thinking into, you're going to want to do those when you're fresh and like your eyes are good and you're not fatigued. Don't allocate that for the morning after drinking. You can, put like shopping after, as a hangover activity as opposed to writing or studying for an exam. Absolutely, using a calendar and agenda is a good idea. Again, I think I'm probably old school because particularly when I was in my classes, I actually physically made a calendar by my hand. And I think I did this purposely because it was more intentional than simply just filling out a calendar online. So I would make week 1, week 2, week 3, which assignment is due when, but I wouldn't say just when it was due. I would also say how long it would take for me to complete the assignment, and I would block those days off saying I'm going to start here and end here and the due date is here. I say that I'm old school and I used to do it all by pen and paper, but I guess that's a little bit of embellishment because I put everything in my phone now. If anything is not in my iPhone calendar, then I'm going to likely skip it. So yeah. I don't know how I feel about that one. There's good and bad. Obviously, there's a lot of research that suggests that distractions are bad because you're more distracted you are, the less you're able to, focus on a particular topic. But at the same time, if I put the phone in the other room and I'm working away and, I think about where's my phone and then I go think, I have to go get it, and if my friend's hidden it somewhere, I have to go ask them to go find it, and I spend more time trying to find my phone when really I could just look real quickly to see whether I've got a new email or text or something like that. So I'm really torn about this. I've definitely been to evenings out with friends when everybody just stares at their phone the entire time. So we used to play a game where you would basically put all of your phones in a hat, and the person who looks at their phone first has to pay for the night out. So nobody wants to touch their phone because the first person that does is going to have an expensive bill that night. Not really going to help for you when you're studying, but it might help you enjoy your time with others. There's a lot of research to talk about SMART goals, and that one of them is to make sure that they're realistic. So that's the R, SMART. The R is realistic. So make sure that they're realistic so that you can actually achieve them. Because if you don't, If you set these goals that are unrealistic and unattainable, one, that's it's not going to be very effective in motivating you. But two, you're setting yourself up for failure. So don't do that. For me, I have a huge amount of focus, and it's very easy for me to stay focused. For me, anytime I'm trying to multitask, I find it incredibly distracting, and I spread myself too thin and don't get anything accomplished. But at the same time, some people are really good at multitasking, and they cannot just sit down and write this, do the same thing forever and ever and ever. I'm kind of like a train. I'm really slow to get moving mentally, slow to get moving, but once I'm going, I'm actually highly productive. But other people are a little bit, they're kind of scattered, like a squirrel, right? Like they want to go here and they want to go there. So if you are, like me, the train, then avoid all forms of distraction. Only intend to do one task at a time. If you're the squirrel mentality, then I would recommend you identify what the most important task is that you need to do, and then alternate between the most important and something else to take your mind off and give you a little bit of a break that you can easily do for a short period of time, and then return to that most important task to ensure that you're spending more time on the most important task. Yeah, I think that's a really good productivity hack, particularly because people often miss their deadlines. Plus, if it's the first time you're doing a task, you may not know all the steps in taking the task, so it's going to take you longer than expected. Plus, if you are rushing near the end of a deadline, you're likely going to finish in a hurry, scrambling, and the quality of your work isn't going to be as good. So establishing kind of like proxy deadlines in advance is a really smart idea. Plus, the other thing for me, I hate deadlines. Deadlines are I like deadlines, but deadlines are incredibly stressful and anxiety provoking for me. I'm highly proactive to avoid the pressure and stress of a deadline. So for me, as well as other people like me, if you can get your task done early, then you don't have to worry about the stresses of a real deadline. Plus, even if you're not like me and you need a deadline to push yourself ahead, then hopefully these imaginary deadlines can help give you some of that urgency you need to start. But they work for some people. I can't imagine them working for those true procrastinators out there. Yeah, exercise is great. I love exercise. Oftentimes when I'm working hard on a project or writing a paper or something in critically thinking and intense, I go out and walk my dog. As I'm walking my dog, the fresh air, the movement, breaking away from the computer for a little bit allows me to think clearer, which actually, I don't know why, it makes things kind of flow easier in your brain. Right? That speaking of kind of focus, allows you to ruminate and recover from those that critical consumption of your brain. Again, I'm not sure this is a productivity hack, but this is a wicked philosophy. Yeah, you should 100% focus on some quick wins before getting to the harder things. Focusing on quick wins allows you to build up momentum and gain confidence in everything you're doing. It makes you feel good that you're becoming more accomplished, and then you can spend time on some of the harder things. However, one caution for this, if you spend too much time on doing a lot of quick wins, and you don't actually spend enough time on the important tasks, then you're just going to procrastinate and delay and avoid doing the task which is likely the most important. So you want to balance between quick wins to build momentum and confidence, and also spending time on actually what's the most important thing to be working on. Yeah, the 1-3-5, I guess that's kind of just a combination of the others. I don't know whether you need these medium things in there. I don't know. I've never done the 1-3-5. I usually focus on building momentum and focusing my energy on the most important thing. So I've never done the 1-3-5. I'm more of the 1-5 kind of guy. I wish that I had this. I don't know if I'd be more productive, because when I'm really productive and working, I have things kind of scattered all over the place. I have a paper here, a book there, I'm just kind of scattered all over the place. But then I do try to bring it back together all the time. I should also note that in my heyday, I would have Post-it notes, and I'd have Post-it notes for everything, but I'd have Post-it notes all around my computer screen, and that's what would remind me of what I needed to do on a certain day. I can't say that I have the cleanest desk, but I certainly have a cleaner desk than other people. All right, guys, that's it. Those are the top 10 productivity hacks, as well as my feedback on each one. If you found this video helpful or want to learn more tips on how to make your student life more manageable, hit subscribe, smash like, make sure the notification tab is on, and check out my video next week. Until then, take care.